Hello and welcome to another Maid Training Academy training video. Please note that video training is an incomplete source to learn all the different ways and the different types of kitchens that you will clean as a professional cleaner. This particular kitchen is rather large. Most houses that you will clean is about 3,500 square foot home. That is the average size of a home in America. This house is 8,000 square feet, and the kitchen is more than twice as large as what you would find on average. We choose this size of a kitchen because you will clean kitchens this large, and it gives us a little bit more room to shoot a video than a kitchen would be the normal size. So it leads to some advantages there. But you'll see here that we will walk through the processes that you clean any kitchen. Some kitchens have stainless steel appliances. This one does not. Some have electric stovetop. This one's a gas one. And so by watching one or two or three or four kitchen videos would never be enough to equal the insight you get as a certified professional maid and cleaner through Maid Training Academy, because they do go through all those different scenarios: built-in refrigerator, standalone trash can that's hidden. So the certification process is the way to get the training and insight to be able to tackle and clean any house that you're going to run into. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started on seeing a team clean this home. This is a bi-weekly recurring customer, so the house is in pretty good shape. And for this video, we are wet wiping down all the cabinets, the kitchen cabinets, which is not always done with all maid companies. Some maid companies only spot clean cabinets and would only wipe down cabinets completely every other time, or only sometimes during a spring cleaning. So again, there are a lot of different ways to clean. This is still going to give you some insight to the general flow of how to clean kitchens, and the larger kitchen in this example, you do get exposure to a few more things that you may not in a smaller kitchen. So without further ado, let's get started. Well, when we do start a kitchen, you do first start off by one person collecting the trash throughout the home and the other person doing the high dusting. In this video, we're going to kind of put everything into one setting here. So the other person went off to start the master bathroom. Other cleaner did. Now you'll see as we take the trash out, this is a hidden trash can. Make sure you tie those trash cans up, and also to double check to look underneath to see if anything is nasty that's going to be carried from the trash bag to the floor. Usually that's not the case, but you always want to be careful about not putting anything that could hurt floors or shouldn't just be sitting on there. So you'll see in this hidden trash can that when you pull it out, she's reaching in there with her duster, or in this case a Swiffer, to get out any things that may have missed the trash can and fallen in behind here. Also, it is good to be able to dust that. Then we're starting off with just a quick dust of that area with your Swiffer. You see that tap? A lot of tapping goes on to get that dust off the Swiffer to the floor, which you'll come back and get later. You'll also see that she kind of tossed in her Swiffer into her caddy and didn't have to lay it back in there. As a seasoned cleaner, that's a great move, a little trick to learn to save you some time. Now, when you put these trash bags back in, the liners, do a great job. When you put it in, like you'll see here, look at her hand all the way down to guide, so the bag's at the bottom and not just crumpled up at the top. So you'll make sure that that looks sharp. And then once you're done with that, put that away. You always want to get things out of your way. Now, the next thing you're doing is you're getting your mop bucket ready. It's one of the first things you do because it allows your mops to go ahead and start getting the solution within the mop head. Plus, you do use the mop water even in washing kitchen cabinets, which we'll talk about here in just a second. So what she'll do is she'll go ahead and just fill up the bucket. Cleaning companies certainly have all kinds of different ways to mop floors. In this regard, this is a floor cleaner that's neutral, very safe and effective on all floors, including hardwood, marble, everything. So as that is going on, you can see that this cleaner is not stopping. She's not waiting on the bucket to get full. She is doing the other things while she's waiting on that, like taking the garbage out of the kitchen and putting it either at the door or outside of the door as they tend to wrap up. It's always nice to get things out of the way. You carry in the amount of mops that you need for a house. This is a recurring customer for this team who's cleaned the house many, many times for years and years. And she's able to know how many mops she'll need to do what she needs to do. And so that's why she's setting to the side. Make sure you mix your mop water carefully and accurately every single time. A little bit more concentrate really can leave your floor sticky. Also, when you do mix your water, you are going to pour the solution in first before you're putting in your mops. So don't make that critical mistake. She's laying that rag down because when she fills up the mop bucket, she's going to end up putting that back down there, not on the hardwood floor, but on that. A lot of companies will use a reservoir dispensing thing for their floor cleaner concentrate to get the exact measurement in there. It's got to be accurate. She's filling up her bucket here, not too full, but certainly at the maximum that you want to go. Really what you tend to do is making sure that you have the right amount of water to concentrate. And so in this case, filling it to the top is the right way for this particular amount of solvent or concentrate that's going to go in the water. Don't use hot water. You can see where the water tap is. It's actually not on hot. Hot water doesn't do any better job. In fact, it does a worse job. So don't do that. Don't put hot water in. In fact, if anything, you should use cold water. Now, that solution was poured in first, and then by putting in the mops, that's kind of a quick way to get it mixed up. Once you put it in there, it's going to dissolve. The problem is you don't want to put the mops in first and then put the concentrate on top of the mops, because then your top mop's going to have a lot of that concentrate, and that can be a problem, leaving floors sticky, especially with that first mop. So she mixes it there, and the stuff mixes and dilutes pretty quickly. Again, she placed it back on the rag to make sure that we don't leave a ring on the floor, which would not happen in 99% of the time, but once again, you always want to be careful and cautious. So the next thing you do is you do the high dusting. As you can see, high dusting includes not only the high part, but the low part. This is where cobwebs are, dust collects, and it's a great thing to make sure you high dust and low dust every time. Not all make companies do that, but we certainly advocate that. You'll see again on the top, you're looking for cobwebs, and you are getting the dust off the top. She's carefully dusting even the things that are hanging on there. The assumption is if it's hanging on the wall, it should be able to take high dusting. Now this is a walk-in pantry, so we are going to still high dust even though you don't dust the items on the pantry shelves. You still have to go in there and high dust to get rid of the cobwebs, especially around the lights that are in there, and all the way down the side and on the bottom around everything. So get to all the areas that you can get to. And then continue to work your way around the room. Again, one of the golden rules in cleaning is top to bottom, left or right. So you start in one area and work your way all around the room. And you are looking. So you may look up and not see a cobweb, but you still go over it because your eye can be fooled, especially at a professional pace. So you don't want to make an assumption. You want to make sure you hit all those spots. So you can also use that like a broom as well too. You'll see that it is pulling anything away and off. Usually you'll do the high dusting throughout the entire floor. But in this case, we want to concentrate all these separate activities with just one cleaner, just back to back right away. So the flow on this is not perfect, exactly correct, because with a team of two, you will go around and do things completely. Now you'll see we're dusting these hanging lamps. Don't be afraid to dust them. A lot of people will be slow or timid or do a bad job because they'll see this thing swing out. It is going to swing out just like a ceiling fan They're made to be able to do all of that. You can see some of the dust falling down, if you can see that. And the benefit of a video is you can stop and rewind and see it again, but certainly you want to be able to do. And once you're done with your equipment, you do want to try to get it out of the way, and so that's what she did. Using a two-step stepladder is important because unless you're really tall, you're not going to be able to reach all the way to all the places that you can get into. It seems like new cleaners tend to resist it, but seasoned veterans know that it's one of your best tools to really stand out from your competition. What she's doing now, she is pre-treating the kitchen sink with a little Comet and actually with a little bit of bleach to help with mold control. And she's going to let that sit. Next thing is she has her dirty rag bag she's laying down. That when you get done cleaning, and along the way you go through a lot of rags, and so there's a place there for you to throw in that. Now again, the front end, she's lifting up any floor mats that are on the floor, shaking them to get all of that off, any dust or anything off there, food crumbs, what it could be, and then getting that out of the way. You can either move that out of the kitchen area, or in this case, there's just a little stool that she's laying it on. Now she's preparing to actually start cleaning the kitchen, so she's getting all of her rags and her clean solutions ready. You can see here that's where the little mat there is laying there. And when she sprayed that bleach, she sprayed that down in just into the inside where any mold would be down the bottom. Now what she's doing, she's lining the sink with rags because she is going to be bringing over, as you all know from your training, the gas grates, and she'll be cleaning those over at the kitchen sink. Now be careful with these grates. They can be heavy, they can be slippery, but you can see she's carefully laying those in the grate. Some people will clean those grates right at the stove, but it's hard because you have to get them out of the way to clean all of the stove, including the little tops to the burners you have to remove. So you really need to get these things out of the way, and the best place to do those is to go ahead and put them over in the kitchen sink. We can also pre-treat them, regardless of it being a spring clean, they haven't had a cleaning in a while, or if this is even a recurring customer on a bi-weekly basis. So she's using her degreaser there. It's a mild degreaser, does a great job, which of course you want to use on your stove top as well as your grates. And so by pre-treating those grates, that'll help loosen up anything that's kind of baked on, because of course that heat will bake on food droppings. Along the way, you always want to be able to have something to place and to stage. You'll see now she's taking the caps off the burners. This is the best way to clean a stove. Some people like to leave them on. Matron Academy supports the practice of removing those so you can get underneath the grates. So she just simply got that and put it to the side. Now she's moving on to start wet wiping the cabinets. And so she is using her two-step step ladder to reach high up. In this case, she's preferred to use her all-purpose cleaner directly under her rag. These cabinets are not in bad shape, but keep in mind, in any kitchen, if people cook, you're going to get grease, especially around the stovetop area. You're going to get those on those cabinets. So Matron Academy does, advocate, wet wiping all the cabinets every time. It's not necessary. It's just a little bit safer, because spot cleaning means you need to catch and find the spots. If you're wet wiping all the kitchen cabinets down, then by default you're getting all the spots, because you're not spot cleaning, you're just cleaning them all. By opening the freezer, you'll see even the seals. And this is a lot of places where handprints will happen. If it's handprints in the kitchen, it can also result in food being transferred over there. Now this is an important area. You'll see this little tray where the water dispenser is. Sometimes it will pop out easily. Sometimes you really have to get it out. But I'd say 90% of the time it will come out. But be careful. In this case, what she's doing now, see if it doesn't pop out, then use your fingernail to get under one little corner of it, and it will pop out. Now look how nasty it looks down there. It didn't look nasty until you pulled it out. That's why you want to pull it out. The difference between a good cleaner, great cleaner, is doing things like that. So she sprayed that, let that sit just a little bit. She's going to go ahead and use her sponge to get that out, because that might be a little baked on in there. It could be anything from Coca-Cola adding ice cubes to you name it. So those can get kind of moldy and nasty. She's having a hard time getting it all out with her sponge. So what she's doing, she's getting her toothbrush, Don't be afraid to go back to your kit and get all your tools, to get everything out. To get everything out. Now she's going to go back with her rag. She's going to spray that. But then she'll end up going back. You'll see that she'll come up and she'll hit that again with the rag. She's letting that sit. And that way it'll be better. So she's taking that over, and then she's actually cleaning out the tray over the sink. Ideally, that's what you'd like to do that if something's dripping, is you do want to do it over the sink. Plus, you need to let that sit a little bit so that'll loosen up those corners that didn't come out by using the toothbrush. You saw her get on it with that toothbrush, and yet it didn't come out. So she's letting that set just a little bit. And she's drying that off. And now she's really getting in there. Now let's see how she's holding the dispenser. If you push that and don't hold it, you're going to get water on you or ice cubes. That's also one of the many tricks taught in Matrix. Now you saw it before you went back in. It looked a lot better. I didn't zoom in on it because you can see she's moving at a good professional pace. Looks a lot better. Great job. And then she's continuing on. So again, top to bottom, left, right. When you're working top to bottom, left to right, once you come across something, take care of it. Don't bounce around. Don't say, I'll come back to that. That is not good. You're getting away from top to bottom, left to right. You can see how she's rubbing her hands through those grooves. That's where stains get caught. Now these are, the finish on these things look a little bit rustic, if you will. I'm not sure that's the right term, or tempered. But now you'll see she's getting down underneath, and she's actually getting that baseboard. A lot of dirt will be pushed up under there. So that helps out also with your floors, because you're getting the crumbs out of your floors. You see what she did? She threw that rag, which is now to get a new one, over that dirty rag bag, keeping it off the floor, and keep moving on. Now she's using her hand to keep it away from those burners. You don't want to use too much, because it can get those igniters too wet. That wasn't bad. Tying her shoe. You don't want to trip. Safety is always the most important thing when it comes to cleaning every time. Safety number one. Cleaning is all about moving things out of the way. Anybody can clean around stuff. That is the quickest way to get fired or to have somebody change maid companies, is not moving things. So you have to pick up everything. We get to all surfaces, and you have to use your sponge. This does not look dirty, but your eye can be fooled. That's why these granite and countertops like this have that pattern, so they do hide dirt, so that it doesn't look dirty right away. And that's a great, and very fashionable, but it's easy to assume something's clean that your rag would be used for, but it's not. Now again, she's using that wet rag from the floor cleaner because it is safe off the right floor cleaners, not all of them, but the floor cleaners that are safe and effective on all hardwood floors are also safe for all wood cabinets. It just makes sense. And so you already have it there. It's got a little bit of a cleaning element, so it's a great product to use on a cabinet. So again, she's using her sponge and side to get all that out. And see how she's pulling everything out and away, getting that backsplash, getting those plugs. And when she brings out, she'll shake her rag, because it's okay to let it go everything to the floor, because the floor is the last thing you'll do. You'll broom it, you'll vacuum it, and then you'll mop it. So that's standard. Now she's removing everything off this tray very carefully. Have steady hands. And when she pulls this thing up, she's doing it also on the floor to get that, again, not to the trash can, just get it on the floor. It's not much. That's standard operating procedure for any maid company to get it on the floor, where you end up picking it up later. Okay, so once she's got that cleared of whatever was in there, and there usually is some little something, and you go back and start cleaning the items that are there and replacing it. So again, what do you touch and clean when you clean professionally? Everything. So when you put things back, all that will have dust, and because it's close to the stove, it'll get sticky. Because it's oil, it'll get sticky. And by getting that off with your all-purpose cleaner, it'll look clean, shiny. It'll look like brand new. It'll look awesome. And so remember, when you put things back, you have to remember how they look. So you want to put them back how they were. And always, when you're putting things back, it's always labels out. So Brittany here, this team leader, is doing a great job with staging that, so it looks pretty as well too. And she's putting it back how it was before, but just a little bit better because not all those labels are facing out. Your caddy's your best friend. You're always looking for something that gets stuff out. There's her degreaser. And of course, there's an oil bottle and there's oil on it. So she's going to get that off. And that degreaser is safe and effective to everything. And that's why it's needed to get that grease off. Otherwise, you'll just smear it and it won't look good. Knowing your cleaning solutions is critical. Every company has things that are slightly different. But for the most part, many companies have degreasers for kitchen areas. They have glass cleaner, they have all-purpose cleaner, they have glass cleaner. So all those things you need to have at your ready that you may use throughout every room, especially in the kitchen and the master bathroom. You see how she tossed that over? That's okay. And then she slides it back in. Now, the training in Matron Academy talks about there's 3 trips around a kitchen. Top cabinets, then the countertop, and then the bottom cabinets. There's a lot of variation based upon the way the kitchen's laid out. Now, this is a very open floor plan. There's not one continuous cabinets. There's like 4 or 5 different ones. And so she's tackling it with the same regard, top to bottom, but she's not making 3 trips around, and that's fine. It's like the second time she's pre-treated the top of those caps for those gas burners. And again, she's using her sponge to get all of the sticky stuff off. Again, you're not just getting around it, you're getting it completely clean. So it's not just one wipe and done. She's looking, she's really, cleaning, scrubbing those areas. Now, again, with caps, you remove those. We talk about sometimes you can remove the control caps. In this case, this one doesn't work very well like that. And so they don't come off easily. But you'll see that the little indicators below are kind of have rotated a little bit because this house is not new. This is about a 20-year-old house. Been remodeled, I think, a couple of times. But in this case, we're not removing those caps. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And we talk about that in your certification class with some more insight when it happens and when you don't. And after she's scrubbed it, now she's come back over with a clean rag. And she's basically wiping up. Because again, a sponge doesn't clean. A sponge is used to loosen up dirt so you can wipe it away. And that's what she's doing. And again, see her shaking that rag, get anything that's stuck to the rag off and go into the floor. It's just once you become a professional cleaner, that's just the move you use all the time. And then last but not least, she's using a dry rag to come in and dry it. And she really is looking for any food or dirt or smudges or anything. The kitchen is the heart of the house. It has to look perfect, as the whole house does. But the kitchen is certainly is the centerpiece. And as you learn in your certification class, so is the master bathroom. Those are the 2 critical rooms in the house. Always do the backsplash. Always do the top of the backsplash. And here you can see maybe some food splashed up on the tile back. If you see food, if you see smudges, if you see dirt, get it off. What do we clean? Everything. And you see as she's cleaning, she's also using her hand to feel for anything that's left behind. So what she does now is she's going to use that sponge and she's going to, again, get anything that's stuck to the top, which usually you're going to have it stuck to the top. And then she's going to put that cap back on. Those caps can be a little tricky. You got to make sure that, and actually in this case, there's 3 pieces. But she just took the cap off, which is primarily what you have to do at a minimum. And so she's scrubbing to get that off, get it clean and shiny, and put it back in place. The stovetop is an important area because this is, again, where you have all kinds of different ones. You'll have electric. You'll have where the coils are there. You'll have what's called a glass top. Okay. And those are all cleaned differently. And some customers even have special solution for their glass top cleaner. glass top stove, which again is referred to back in May Training Academy certification classes. And it's like a puzzle piece. They've got to fit on there just right. If not, the flame won't look good. It'll come off uneven, and the customer will be a little perturbed that they have to reach down in there and get it back on. And you'll feel it click, and often you won't be able to turn it because they'll be locked into place. So she's just checking to make sure they are back on place. And they can be a little tricky. And she has a little challenge with this back one over here to make sure everything is perfect. Great job. Now she's going back over to the grate. She's going to hit a little bit more with some solution. This is just now the all-purpose, so the degreaser should have worked. And then she's going to hold it up and use her sponge. Now, this is not a bad move. It's not the best move. You usually want to hold that over the sink. But a lot of this is a judgment call by the cleaner, where she is, you can tell there's really not much on here, if anything. And so it's, a little bit easier to not hold it over the sink versus hold it away. And so the next thing she'll do is she'll rinse it off using the sprayer, get all of that off. Watch this move. Turn like that. Now you don't want to drop these things, of course, they're heavy. Some of the newer grates they're on hinges. If they're on a hinge, do not take them off. That's a very easy and common damage claim. But if it's a hinge, then you can clean it right there. It's just easier when they're not hinged, to remove the grates, because you have to put them somewhere. You see how Brittany cleaned that stovetop, where you couldn't do them in place, so you're getting them out of the way. So now she's drying them off completely, and then carefully replacing them. They need to be lining it up. Make sure if anything water dripped off of them, that you get that done. And like you're cleaning a mirror, no spots, not even on the stovetop. She goes over the sink a little bit better. Now what happens is, she's not very tall. She's, on the shorter side of a cleaner, not too short. But you can see by twirling that, she does that, because I asked her afterwards that she didn't want to hit the granite countertop. So there's some of the logic there. So a lot of judgment calls as a professional cleaner, and everybody has a little bit different. And the purpose of Matron Academy is to give you the insight for all the options that you have at your disposal as a cleaner. And you do, because houses are so different. Literally, I'm not going to say hundreds of different kitchens, but really 30, 40, 50 different styles and formats. And so a lot of judgment calls. A good cleaner has to be able to think on their feet, and referencing all their training they had in the past to see, hey, maybe this situation doesn't call for this. Maybe it calls for something slightly different. If this stovetop was covered with stuff like you might find on a move-in, move-out, or even a first-time customer on a spring clean, you might find that if there's a lot of stuff on there, you're going to have to clean it really over the sink just to get anything that would come off of it to fall into the sink. And again, you hate to drop one of those on the whether it's tile floor or hardwood. If you dropped it, you'd have a damage claim. So again, safety is so important. Not only do you lose a customer sometimes with the first damage claim, but it can also be that you have to have a very expensive bill you have to pay to fix the floors, or if we drop something on it. And she tossed it over there on a dirty rag bag, and she's getting something new. Those are the ones that were where she lined the sink to make sure we didn't scratch that stainless steel. Even with porcelain sink, be very careful. So she's continuing on. Again, the theme here is you move everything. What do you touch? You touch everything. So what you gonna do? Well, again, it's top to bottom. And so she is gonna go ahead and clean this cabinet first. If anything falls off of there, it would fall in the area that she's gonna clean next. And while she's up there, she has one rag to wipe it down and the other rag to dry it. Once she uses that, she gets it out of the way. And not just the front of the cabinets, the side. Also, with the top, she probably could have done this before she did the grates, but since there's nothing, on there, then she just went ahead and remembered, hey, I'm going to make sure I do this because she's doing the top part now. But it's in really good shape, and she hit those lights that were up there. That's what she got. So a lot of kitchens have a lot of, it's not clutter, it's decorations, it's, recipe boxes. Again, she's getting that backsplash. She's getting the area above if there's something that's splashed up there. So you're always looking, shaking your rag, getting that off, bringing it down. And this was actually with the dry rag, if you can see, this is not a wet rag. So she's kind of dusting this item more than cleaning it. If it was had sticky stuff on it, she may have to use the rag that may have had that floor cleaner on there to help get something off. But it looked like it was in pretty good shape, so she's dusting it and putting it all back after she cleaned the area. And then make sure it's aligned and looks pretty. Next thing, you see this a lot where the salt and pepper shakers are in these little trays or compartments. But again, that being the case, you're just going to go ahead and get it clean, get it all out of there. That's how professional cleaners do it. A lot of new cleaners will go like, oh my gosh, it's going right to the floor. It sure is. You got to keep moving. That's standard. That's not just Maid Training Academy. In commercial cleaning, in a lot of places, you move top to bottom, and it's okay to let that fall. It's not going to be there very long, and you're going to get it off soon. And then she's wiping down everything before she puts it back in. In this case, she chose to use a sponge. You may have seen something that was stuck on there or not. Sponge is a great tool, but again, it's not to use too clean, it's to loosen up. So she used a sponge and then she went back and wiped it clean with the rag, and then she put that back. Again, you'll see her using her left hand or other hand to feel the area to make sure there's nothing sticky. Your eye will, not can, will be fooled. So in this case, we're obviously not going to clean each utensil that's in that little box, but she is moving around. A lot of people will find it hard to move around things. Well, you've got to move. You can get to places, but you have to move your position. You're moving your feet. You're getting into position to be able to reach these areas. As you can see, she also touched those light switches. See how she felt that area. Make sure it's not sticky or gritty. And coming back. And keeping the top to bottom. Now she's doing the bottom cabinets. And the handles is where you're going to find a lot of things that might be sticky or have food on it. And once again, getting that bottom of the cabinets and also in those corners by the floors and the baseboard. Those are warming trays. And so she is cleaning that with a sponge. And then she's using a rag on the wood. You could have used your rag on that, but again, if you want to get it super clean, and that's an area that can take a sponge, not a problem at all. And the sponge that you use is not scouring, so it doesn't scratch. And you don't always need it, but that's, again, a lot of judgment calls. And so she decided, let me just go ahead and do it with a sponge, and that should be fine. See the top of that, getting all that off the top where dust would sit or grease would collect, as well as underneath. As you can see, as a professional cleaner, you're on your hands and knees in certain parts of the house. Kitchens and bathrooms where you're on your hands and knees often. It's easier than bending over. Look at all those grooves she's getting into. Fantastic job. Shaking that rag. Coming all the way to all the cabinets. With spring cleans, you certainly would do all the cabinets. Some, again, maid companies will do on recurring in the kitchen and the master bathroom, and maybe not on the spare. So again, knowing your cleaning packages of your maid company is critically important. So she completed that section, and now she is choosing to go and do the island next. The training manual does talk about you want to finish at the sink because you're constantly using the sink, going back to the sink. And so the sink is kind of your tool and your friend, and you don't finish cleaning that until the very end. And so she used more all-purpose cleaner and back to the sponge, feeling, getting the gritty off, especially on island. That's where they usually prepare the food. And that's where people hang out. They have their soft drinks up there. They may even eat up there. So she's feeling, and if she finds a little gritty spot or something sticky, she's using that sponge to get it off. And she is doing top to bottom on the island. You're starting at the top, and you'll see that she'll go to the cabinets after she does the top. She's feeling that. Still stuck. She got it off. And you probably thought that countertop was clean, didn't you? And it wasn't. You can see she's feeling it, having to stop. And again, she's going to move all of that. But now she's moving, she's cleaning where she can, and then she'll come back and move the other stuff. Cleaning and feeling. And again, a sponge is not used to clean. It's to loosen dirt where you can come back later and use your rag to wipe it clean. And now she's moving stuff out of the way. And that technique is like you'd use in everything. You move things out of the way. You don't clean around things. Customers don't want that. They want a real professional clean. This is a professional clean. If you're cleaning around stuff, you're not doing a professional clean. Anybody can clean the house. Anybody can move a rag around. But if you want a professional cleaning, this is how you clean as a professional. Feeling, moving things, dusting everything. We want the house to look, and it will look pretty when you're done. Now, before she replaces everything back onto that little butcher block. And again, be careful. It's easy to have an accident, and you will. Accidents happen. If you have a lot of accidents, then you may be in jeopardy of losing your job. But accidents do happen. They just shouldn't happen very often. But that's why you have to be careful. There's another set of salt and pepper shakers. So she is, again, getting the stuff off the top. You do want to clean that top because salt and pepper will stick to that. A cutlery board, again, you want to clean around it. Be careful. You can get cut if there's an exposed blade. So it's a combination of moving things and being safe. Moving things, being safe, and touching everything. Now she's using the rag to actually wipe it clean. Now obviously she's not going to dust those corks, those wine corks. So again, a judgment call. But again, on this item, it's big glass. It looks heavy too. Sometimes you want to be careful when moving things. If it's too big to move, then don't move it. But if it's something that you can move with it being relatively safe, then do it. Cleaning and feeling, cleaning and feeling. Now she's coming back with a dry rag. The other actually was a little bit too wet. So good move. That's a seasoned veteran move. And now she's wiping everything, dusting basically everything down. Feeling it? Yep. Needs to be cleaned. And then you're going to dry it off. Multitasking, using both hands. All those things make you an efficient cleaner and an awesome cleaner. Putting everything back so it looks pretty, nice and tight. Here's the tissue box. She's pulling one out. And here's a cool little trick that you learn. A lot of different ways you can fold tissues, and we teach you those in your certification classes. She's taking those and making basically a star, pushing it in there. Easy peasy. Looks beautiful, doesn't it? Very nice. Keep in mind, having nice little additives like that are great when you do a good job first. If you do a sloppy job and then do that, make it look pretty, customers actually get mad, they get upset. Hey, stop spending time fooling my tissue. do a better job cleaning the kitchen right. So again, you have to be careful to do the core competency right. Then those little added twists really help a customer feel great. That's how they get to, oh, I love my maids. That's those little things. But it's also doing the core stuff right also to begin with. Some customers will give us a granite cleaner. Some customers give us all kinds of different products that they insist that we use on theirs. And so you always want to be mindful of that. And so again, a lot of different ways you clean things, and those are all reviewed in your certification classes. Now she's going back to their mop water. She's getting one because she's going to do what now? She's going to do the cabinets now. She's picking a spot, not in the middle of it, but pick a spot, usually at a corner, and work your way around, top to bottom, left to right. Or you can work right to left, but left to right or right to left. But just stay on path, don't bounce around. Some maids will actually wear knee pads. It's interesting that most cleaners don't like them because they'll get in their way, and they don't. It's not a big chore for them to work on their hands and knees. I'd say that 20% of the maids out there will wear knee pads, and it's certainly not a bad thing. She went now that she's got a wet rag. She didn't do this when she emptied the trash. Why? Because she didn't have a wet rag on her. So now she's going around and she's getting that done. Now, most maid companies will not require you to clean the inside of those cans or the cans themselves, but if you do see where something spilled, which has happened often, you know, there'll be a spill. Look at that. She found it. Looks like, I'm not sure what that is. Looks like maybe a Q-tip that fell out. It's those little things that customers appreciate. And back we go. And she's not stopping to pick that up because she's going to get to the floors later. You don't want to be walking on messes, and it's really, again, you don't see much of that, but she's not stopping. She's continuing left to right. So she did the trash can, and what's she doing now? She's moving on, continuing to go around all the way top to the bottom. Not top to the middle, not top to the kind of the bottom, all the way to the bottom. Top to bottom. And doing those baseboards with edges to help to get some of those crumbs get stuck and pushed over underneath that may not get up by simply brooming it or vacuuming it all the way to the bottom. Those knee pads are great. I prefer to clean when I clean. I like to have them if I know I'm going to be doing a lot of cabinets. And again, you're not doing it throughout the house. It's just in certain places like this. But those knee pads, all different types of shapes. You can use basketball knee pads. You can use construction knee pads, like people who work for laying tile. Some people wear them inside their pants. Some will wear outside of the pants. Some will, if they're not using them, they'll let them slide down to kind of close to their ankle. So again, you know, this is where personal preference comes into play. Most maid companies will allow you to wear and have your own knee pads. I don't know too many that provide them. That's more of a personal preference. And she did what? She finished where she started. Now she's done. Top to bottom, left to right. So now that island's done, so what she do now? She's moving right to the next area. So keep in mind that you know the pace and speed is about transition. She's not stopping. She knows the next move. So the next move, she's doing the microwave. So she is taking out the plate. She's laying that down because it can break easily. But you don't want to clean it there because you're going to get it wet and it could slip out of your hands. You got to be real careful. That's a common breakage, is if you drop that in the sink and it'll hit that, you know, hard stainless steel or ceramic or even here the granite. That's why you got to be real careful when you do that. So she actually pre-treated that little plate, and now she's not spraying the cleaner inside the microwave. That's real dangerous. It'll slip, see that grid, that vent. If you spray inside there, the spray can go into the vent, drip down into the controls, short it out. And I'm not talking about wait till it dries. I'm talking about ruining a microwave. Those are some of the safety tips that we talk about in your certification process. So she is using her sponge, and you'll see it all the way up, the underneath side, all of it. There's your toothbrush. She's going to use in the corners. Microwaves, you can count on every time you clean the house, the microwave's going to be dirty every time. It's one of the top 10 complaints you get in a kitchen is they didn't do a very good job, or they simply missed the microwave. You cannot miss the microwave. You cannot do a poor job. They're going to see that the very first hour they come home, because they're going to heat up something or cook something. They're going to look in there and go, wow, they did a really poor job. Again, the kitchen is the house. The kitchen is where most complaints happen, because they use the kitchen every single day, all the time. See how she's holding in that handle, the push button out? That's a great thing you learn, because that way you can see, because when you push it in, the dirt may be just inside there. So that's a great veteran move, and one that you need to remember. And again, not all microwaves work like that. Now she's back to the plate, and she's cleaning that with a sponge. Also, she used her fingernail. Fingernail is one of the best tools that God gave us, and you use it a lot in cleaning. So if you have long, pretty nails, you may not keep them because you do use your fingernails a lot. I've seen cleaners who do awesome work and have beautiful nails, but again, you're going to use your fingernail to get things off. It's just quick and easy. It's soft. It won't scratch, so always do a good job. And see how she's holding that plate very carefully? She's not holding it to the side. She's resting against her body. It's a great move. Making sure the water's off. The little carousel wheel there. Isn't that clean? Now, not always the carousel wheel won't come out like that. Some will, some won't. If it doesn't, don't try to force it out. She's looking to see if it's back in there. Make sure you get it back on right. If not, that thing will be wobbly, and the customer will think you went fast and were sloppy. Look at how she's looking upside. Look, there it is. That's where people miss. They don't look inside. If you're tall, you have to just bend down and look inside there. You have to. A lot of bending, a lot of it and looking. You're checking, you're cleaning and checking. You're cleaning and inspecting. You use your hand to feel anything that's on the countertop. You're feeling and looking all the time. Now, with a recurring customer, we don't clean out the oven. A lot of spring cleans will include maybe the inside oven window or the racks on a spring clean or a move in, move out. But with most homes now, they have self-cleaning ovens. If you do clean the inside of an oven, a self-cleaning oven, you can ruin it. In fact, it says in the instruction manuals of ovens that have self-cleaning mechanisms, don't do it or you'll ruin it. So that's why you don't do a lot of that on the inside of the ovens. Now again, any chair, this is standard chair cleaning. It's top to bottom, and you do all of it. Not just down, you do the crossbars, you do all of it. And here's another great move. See how that stuff came off? Stuff will stick to the bottom of chairs. How often? Every time. Whether you have dogs or not, or pets, that's a classic complaint, is that they didn't get that little fur off the bottom of the chair legs. And you saw what came off. And she's continuing on, top to bottom, left to right. Here's that next little section. And she's moving to the right. Now, it looks like it's a printer that's on that counter. She's not going to lift that. That's, again, another judgment call. You're not going to lift the printer. Customer's not expected to lift a printer. Probably doesn't want you to lift the printer. But again, you're going to clean around it and up to it. She is going to lift the phone set. So again, picking up and returning, picking up and cleaning. And then she is going to clean that. And then she's right there. She's going to go ahead and dust those areas. Technically, she probably should have dusted the areas first that are hanging on the wall and then did it below. But she is using her rag and not a Swiffer. A Swiffer will grab some, but it usually knocks it down. So using a rag will grab the dust better. And she's going to every single one of the top of those pictures. Again, what do we touch? Everything. A lot of bigger kitchens, or even not so big kitchens, have a little office area that will kind of bleed into that a little bit. That's still part of the kitchen. You still clean it like the kitchen or any countertop. So if it's got a computer on it, you just go around it. And you'll see that she's not cleaning the screen. You never clean the screens. You'll scratch them. Some maid companies will argue, or not argue, but have a different policy on that, which is fine. But you can pick up something along the way and scratch a glass screen where a granite countertop can obviously take a rag coming across it. Some of these screens, especially the high definition TVs, you can easily scratch them. So a lot of monitors are also high def and can easily be scratched. So we advocate just leaving those alone. Another area like this little that a lot of maids will skip over or not do very well is underneath. Again, if you're going to do the baseboards or get in there, you want to get inside there. So a lot of moving. She's going to get a rag again and get in there and do those top edges. Continue where she left off. All the cabinets. So you can see a lot of time is spent cleaning the cabinets if you're going to do a spring clean, or even if your company does require you to clean all the cabinets in the kitchen, which again is out there. It's probably not the standard, but it is something that is a little bit higher quality, especially from a safety standpoint of not catching a spot, in spot checking, but you're simply doing all the cabinets. Nothing wrong, just different ways of doing it. And yet we have another section of the kitchen. This is the coffee section. Once again, this is a large kitchen. A typical kitchen will take 45 minutes to clean if you're doing spot cleaning of the cabinets on a recurring basis. This kitchen is easily twice as large as most kitchens. So it is an hour and a half to do, including mopping the floors and the whole floors. Sweeping, vacuuming, and mopping, about an hour and a half. So the larger homes are more time by default, and so this is a little bit longer. But you can see we got a little bit more angles to see here. Once again, always do those face plates. Always do those light switches. They always get used, and they'll always have smudges on there. You don't want your customers to like their cleaning. You want your customers to love their cleaning, and smudges are certainly one. And think about it, if it's around the coffee area, that's going to be one of the places to go in the morning. If it's going to be in the morning, it's going to be dark. They're going to want to turn that light switch on, and they'll have smudges. Now she's going back to top, so she probably could have started on that top cabinet to start off, but she's just right there in the groove, moving and grooving. But she's going back to the top cabinets. And again, the rule is if you are using a step ladder, it's only as high as you can reach. Customers are appreciative of that. They're okay, and usually, you're not gonna get finger smudges or anything higher than what you can reach on a two-step step ladder, even if you're not very tall. Here we are again, another little tray. You'll find things like trays like this in bathrooms and a lot of areas of the house, but especially in the kitchen, and the bathroom, we're gonna dust and clean everything. So once again, she removed all the items. She's cleaning that area off. This looks like it has a glass plate or something in there. Maybe it's plexiglass. Yep. She's just checking it out here. Okay. Holding it very carefully. Cleaning the area that it was sitting in. Returning the area. Returning it. Making sure it's aligned nicely. She saw a little smudge there where her hand was. A little extra something there. Coffee creamer, sugar, sweeteners, all that gets sticky around and on the areas around a coffee pot area. And these things really stand out, you all. This is something that as you clean and you really, as a customer, as a homeowner, They see those areas and it just looks pristine every time they have their maid service. That's why they really look forward to having their house clean, because everything looks good. Everything is clean. How much is it? Everything looks clean. It's why people pay a lot of money to get their house clean, to get it cleaned professionally. Now, what she did there, it was unbalanced. I don't know if you saw that at the very beginning. It wasn't, so she's going to make it look straight. And she didn't touch it. She didn't make it unbalanced, but she got it straightened out. Those are the little things, though. You put things back where you found them. A lot of stuff, as the customer goes through their daily activities, are going to get things. They're going to bump it, get it out of the way, make it look right, straighten it up. It's obviously tilted, put it back. And again, she's feeling with her hand, using that sponge on a countertop. Even when, see, she didn't unplug that, because you're not supposed to unplug electrical appliances. So on that, she did the right thing by not unplugging it. If it was a clock or anything else, you don't know, you just never unplug it. You clean the plate where it was with what's plugged in. Now the bottom part. So she went top, middle section, now the bottom, again, with it being left or right. Now, every once in a while, you're going to get a customer that they're going to have spots on their cabinets. And when you have spots in the cabinets, and it's been a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or never since they've had a spring clean, those spots can take a long time to get done. You have to get all the spots off the cabinets. Well, this spot was on, it wouldn't come off. When it doesn't come off, you got to make sure you leave a note for the customer saying it didn't come off. But if they can get it off, trust me, they're going to fire you. Because if you're a professional, you should be able to get it off. If they can get it off, and you're a professional and you can get it off, you're fired. Now she's done with that. Now she's going back to the last area, which is the area that has the sink. She's pre-treating with the all-purpose cleaner. There's her clean rag bag. Getting some more rags out. And these are Microsoft microfiber rags. It's the standard in the industry. Got to have a good rag. If not, you waste a lot of time. Plus, the quality is not nearly as good. It doesn't clean, streak free. This is the dishwasher. You clean the outside of it. If it was stainless steel, you'd use your glass cleaner or the client's stainless steel spray. Open that up, because again, that's a place where a lot of food will be. A lot of stains. You want to, like moving stuff off cabinets. Sometimes you have to, move and open doors like the refrigerator, like the dishwasher. You don't clean out the inside of the dishwasher though, only on move in, move outs. So move and move outs when it's empty, when the house is completely empty. You do clean the inside of the dishwasher. And again, she's leaving the items plugged in. But she did hit that plate around it. On the fruit bowl, she didn't do inside the fruit bowl because there's food there. She did the bottom part, which is fine. You don't want to remove the fruit or food, clean it and set it back. Some companies do, but most companies do not. Every item, once again, is hand cleaned. Now, this kitchen is probably considered lightly decorated. There's not a lot of clutter. Usually in the bigger kitchens, you have a little bit less, not clutter, but decorations. In smaller kitchens, because people have coffee makers, and they have fruit bowls, and they have salt and pepper holders, and they have recipe boxes. It's just in a smaller area, so it's a little tighter. So again, it's still the same thing. You're going to touch everything. You see, she put those soap dispensers in of the sink, it's okay for those to get wet. In fact, you'll get those completely wiped down. Now she's doing the faucet here. See how she did the bottom of that where the water comes out? She scratched underneath there with her there. And see that move too? That's a great move to get that clean because people will get food on there because they get it too close and that'll get nasty or have food on it. And now we're doing the sink. Since she's right here. She's not going to come back to the sink, so she's right here. Now she's got to do that area by the bar area, the breakfast bar area. But now it's again on that stainless steel. And you know she put the Comet in there before, so you can't hardly see the Comet now, but it's still in there. A lot of classic mistakes on new cleaners using too much Comet. Too much Comet means you really have to rinse it out over and over again. Now see how that move is to get the down in there done? How she jammed that sponge down in there and then twisted it to get all that clean? Rock on. Great job, Brittany. And then she'll spray all the Comet out. Yeah, too much Comet is a classic move. What'll happen is you'll rinse it like that, and even if you dry it, it'll still end up having the little white powder residue on there. So a little bit goes a long way. And she certainly got all that, all those dispenser bottles down in there. You saw she put water over it, and then she's going to come back as she's drying over it. Make sure those faucets are shiny, shiny, shiny. Who doesn't like shiny? So you don't just clean it. You clean it and you get it shine, looking like a mirror. You want to get it looking shiny and streak-free. Now she's finishing up with that, placing it nicely. Ideally, you want to have those little taps. Depending on each sink, it's a little bit different. A lot of judgment calls. But she's going to have that. Usually you'll have those where the squirt bottle is. You'll have that drip part hanging over the sink. But not always. Not always. And that was the rag that was found when we started the job. So we're going to replace that and keep it there. Some companies will ask you to throw that into the laundry basket, but not all. Most will say you'll put it right back where it was. And she's continuing where she left off. Paper towel holder, you want to treat that like you would a toilet paper. You always want to fold that if you want to make it look nice. Same technique. Then rolling it back over. Very nice. Paper towels can be a little harder to fold because they don't crease, especially at an angle like that. They've got those little rivets on it, so it's a little bit harder to get it to look crisp, but it sure looked good there, didn't it? Sure did. Now she's continue on a bottom. Top to bottom, left, right. So where'd she start? In the corner. That way she knows where she's going to finish up. Now this is a breakfast bar area. The kitchen is traditionally considered where the cabinet's in. So not always on the other side of this other little island. May not always be wet wipe clean. Again, one of those judgment calls. May not have too much activity on the other side where food would be on, since it's on the other side of the kitchen area, if you will, even though it's kind of right on the borderline of the other side. On a spring clean, you definitely do the other side because you're doing all cabinets. Get her vacuums out of the way. And continuing here, I think she stops once she gets that outside area done as far as the cabinetry work. Now, when you have these breakfast bars, you will pull these chairs away and you'll keep them out there, just as the training is in the certification process. You only put them back when you're completely done. So we're going to clean each one of these chairs from top to bottom. Look how she quickly brushes off. That's a cloth seat. So, but you still brush it off. It's cloth. I got a wet rug. It's not too wet, and you're just going to brush it off. And you can see she's doing every part of that and lifting up again and getting that stuff off the bottom part of the leg, lifting that up. And usually you can see that even with the little felt pads on there. So she looked to see that there's 2 areas that had it down there. Brushing the chair. Completing your certification class is important because it's proof to your customer or your employer that you truly know how to clean. It's one thing to watch a video, it's another thing to be asked a question. In this situation, what is the right answer? Choose from the following 4. So, it's one thing to watch a video, the other thing to be tested and graded on your knowledge. So you can see there's cabinetry on this side as well too. See that what just came off there? If you didn't get that, customer's going to complain. I would. I want it professionally cleaned. I want it better than I do it. I'm not a professional. You are, Mr. Maid Company. If you're keeping an eye on the clock, you can see we're over an hour in this kitchen already. Brittany hasn't slowed down or stopped. She's transitioned from one task right to the next. Even though she's cleaned this house many times over, this is no different than how she cleans any house. You just move top to bottom, left to right. That keeps you on track. I know we harp on that in the training and we harp on that in the video, but it is the thing that people get away from. If they're running slow on time, most common thing that we find is that they're not sticking to the top to bottom, left to right. Until you learn that habit, you have to remind yourself, or your supervisor will remind you because you're going out on time. You have to stick to the training, top to bottom, left to right. Make judgment calls. Know what you use, when you use it, and where to use it, and what situations you use it. So it's not as much even thinking, it's more of a habit. Oh, this is the situation, I know exactly what to do. So that takes some time. Usually 30 days or a month of professional cleaning, 3 houses a day, 5 days a week, is you'll get your pace close to where it needs to be, if not where it needs to be. Even for some professional cleaners who have worked on their own, who've not had, work for a company. They've had to, learn how to get their pace higher. Even though it's good, it's not where it needs to be. And a lot of it, again, is transitional pace. She's not rushing. If a customer was watching her clean, they wouldn't feel that she was being reckless. But I will tell you, Brittany is considered a fast cleaner. As a percentage, I would say she's probably 10% faster than the required pace. So not much more, but a little bit more. Constantly feeling. That becomes second nature. You'll end up doing that at your house, in your own kitchen. You'll end up feeling when you're at somebody's house as a friend and you're sitting there, you have your hand against the counter resting, you'll find yourself feeling the countertop and finding the sticky goo. So again, these are all habits you have to form. And once it becomes second nature, then your transitional speed is not an issue. You know what to do and what the next step is. And she's not doing some of the countertop. She's doing all of it. The other thing too is you'll have some people that new cleaners will basically be kind of all over it, but not all of it. So it's a pattern. Start one area, work your way around. Don't miss anything. Here we are again, an area of decoration. What do you move? All of it. Even this big stuff, if you can move it safely, as long as you don't drop it. So again, the kitchen is probably the most common place for accidents. Second place is the bathroom, because again, often if you drop something, it's going to land on a hard floor, be it hardwood or tile, and it'll shatter or break, and even maybe damage the floors. So look how she's holding that. She's got a pretty good grip on it, but again, that's a little heavy. It's ceramic, you can probably tell, but she handles it with great confidence because she knows how to clean, and she's done it enough times to know. Brittany's been a professional cleaner for over 3 years and has great reviews from her customers. So that whole area is done, and she's on to the next task. And what is that? It's time to do the floor, so let's get all those dirty rags that we use. And none of them are sopping wet, but once you get to a point where you need to move to a new rag, grab a new rag. So the next thing she's doing now is getting everything out of the way. That's another thing too, is when you're cleaning, you're constantly moving your equipment. You're moving this stuff out of the way to get to the next area. A lot of bending, a lot of toting to get things out of the way. Brittany doesn't get complaints, because she checks a lot. Now, she already checked that area. If you had a critique her, maybe she's checking too much, because as a team leader, she's going to finish up coming back and she's going to check the work again before she leaves the house as the person who inspects the house. So she's just making sure without a shadow of a doubt nothing's on there. And sometimes when she does this, she finds something that she missed. Because when the area is wet, your rag or your sponge will glide over that a little easier. When your sponge is there, it'll glide over it a little bit more. Now you'll feel it, but now that it's dry, sometimes you'll feel it, and sometimes it'll be a little bit of grit or on there. And she's just making sure that everything is perfect. So even that little extra check there only took probably about a minute. It is something that she probably could have eliminated since she was checking along the way. As long as she checks like that when she's inspecting the house, when she's done. Now we're going to do the floors. A broom is, without a doubt, you have to use a broom. Why? Because it gets in those corners and edges, and she's pulling it out into the middle where she can use her canister vac to vacuum it up. Even though she's down there with her wet rag to kind of get that area, any crumbs that were stuck down there, she's still using the broom to get it out and away from that area so she can get it with her canister vac. And how's she doing that? Top to bottom, left to right. So she's going left, right, she's picking a point and just moving around the room. She's not going here and there and everywhere. There's a little doggy door or a baby door. Now she's going into the pantry and doing the floors in the pantry. And you're going to find a lot of stuff in the pantry. That's where a lot of food will just drop. Sometimes if you find a mess, then you have to maybe pick it up while you're there. Okay, there's something that's on the floor. See how she tapped the broom? That's to get anything stuck to the bristles off. A lot of tapping. You'll tap your Swiffer. You'll shake your rag. You'll tap your broom. That's to get whatever might be stuck off of there off onto the floor. And so you have a little bit easier time using a more efficient and effective way of using your mop. Great job. And she's getting that out of the way. Next is the canister vac. Don't skip it. A lot of people will use it as a shortcut. Well, I'm getting it out. I'm going to mop it out. So I'll get all that loose stuff off the ground with the mop. No, you're not. It's going to smear it. You have to get that dust and dirt off the floor before you mop. Don't ever skip that, because you'll end up getting a complaint because your floors won't look very good. There's that Q-tip she's finally picking up. Why? Because it's time to do the floors. Now this is a short bristle head on the canister back. You want to make sure that you're careful with any type of flooring, getting in the corners and edges. That's why she left that chair out of that cubby hole, because she knew she was coming back to it. Move the chair out of the way to get under there. And here again, you're back to moving stuff out of the way all the time. That's the sound of an awesome, high quality professional cleaner. Be careful with your cord. Anytime you have anything with a cord, to get wrapped around something, you don't want to stretch it too far. You want to make sure your canister back follows you. You want to make sure your cord doesn't get tangled up. Careful, careful, careful. And again, she's moving stuff out of the way. This looks like something that actually doesn't need to be thrown away, so I think she's putting it back. Yeah, looked like something that was important enough not just to throw away. Most recurring kitchen jobs take, again, about 45 minutes. If it's a little smaller, it can be as quick as 35 minutes. But it's going to range between 35 minutes and 45 minutes, depending on the size and the complexity of it and the condition that it's in. You can get a small kitchen that can take an hour and a half because it's never been cleaned before, it's been a long time. Okay, so she is back to where she started. So she should be wrapping this up on the canister back, and then she should start mopping. See how she gets that cord out of the way? She's backtracking just a little bit here, but maybe she saw something that she felt that she needed to go back over it again. Remember, that's where she had the salt and pepper shaker that, had a little bit of salt and pepper in there. So maybe she's coming back there and just doing it again, just to be on the safe side. Now, again, when you do the floors, you don't just do the floors after you're done with the kitchen. This is where you do the whole main floor, and then you mop your way out. So this is not exactly how it's done on a team. You do these in stages. You do high dusting first, the whole floor, then you come back, and then you start in the kitchen. And then when you're done with the kitchen, you move to the next room, and then you do the floors last. So the floors last not by room, by floor. But it's good to be able to show you this at least in somewhat back-to-back, so you can see all the pieces in just one continuous loop, if you will. So she's done with the canister back. She's going to get that out of the way. She is going to be using it in other parts of the house, so she's not going to wrap the cord underneath, but she's going to wrap it up and again just get it out of the way. Next she's going to do is she's going to start mopping here. And she went to go get her mopping pole. A lot of different mopping poles. This mopping pole used here is, in our opinion, probably the best. It's the most maneuverable. It's the quickest. It's the most sanitary. You'll see those little green lines in the mop are still soft, but they're a little bit stiffer, and so they do help grab anything that's stuck to the floors. And we'll get that out. Now again, you'll see how, look at all the water she's getting out, all the mop water out. I mean, it is going to be damp mopping. She's really getting that. So she's going to prepare a bunch, and you'll see why. Because she knows how many it's going to take to get done. She's going to get them prepared. And as she's mopping, she's going to change these out as needed once her mop head's dirty. So get it on there. You can stand on it to get it to stick. She can extend her pole. She can start one point, And she's going to start using the far end. And she's going to mop her way out. Now, there are certain hot spots in a kitchen that are dirtier than others. But you also see the same technique. She's pulling everything toward her. And you don't want to walk back over a newly mopped floor for safety, as well as you don't want to leave your footprints on there. But I can tell you now, I see her tapping it. So if there's anything stuck to that, she's going to bring it to her and tap it out. Okay? Now she's going to check her mop head. Does it look dirty? Sure does. Let's get a new mop head. If it was really dirty, she'd have to stay where she is and continue mopping the same area until it comes back clean. Now look, she's going to double track a little bit, which is great because she doesn't really know where it was stopped. So she's going to hit that one more time until the mop head comes back clean. Okay, she's bringing anything over there. She doesn't see it. That's just the normal move to bring and pull that, anything that would be there, over. And she knows by the condition of the floor that it's going to take two, and no more than two. But once you get into the front of the hot spots like the refrigerator, right? These are all in your training classes. The stove, the sink, looking again. Yep. Time for a new one. When you put that on there, make sure you get it right. You don't want it over the edge. That's a little bit far over the edge. Not too bad. Acceptable, but you want to keep that balanced. And see how nice that head swivels and moves? So you can get skinny with it, or you can get wide, and you can move it towards you. And here's that area in front of the kitchen. You can see she is spending quite a bit of time with that same area right in front of the kitchen. And avoiding as best you can not to mop over the same area. But that's right in front of the kitchen. That's the spot. That's where things fall. That's where things like the countertops, it may miss your eye. You may look at it and say, I don't see anything. But if you get down there and you use your hand, it could feel sticky. So you want to make sure you do a great job in these little hot spots around the kitchen. And that's why you see she got the mop heads ready, because she's going to go through quite a bit in the kitchen. Get it on there. See, it didn't stick very well. She didn't like the centering. That looks a lot better. Step on it if you want. Get it a little bit nice and firm so it doesn't slide. See how she's getting those little corners and edges? And it's okay to hit that baseboard. It's no problem at all. Get things out of the way. And even though you can see the floor is wet, it's not puddling. It's damp mopping for sure. You never want to leave puddles of water on any flooring, because it'll leave spots and it could damage unsealed hardwood floors. And even with the video camera, you really can't pick up as much as in person. So you can see that she's changing it out. That that mop head may not have looked clean, but you see before she threw it down, see how clean and white that one looked? If you want to go back and look at how the other one looked in the video camera, you can tell it looked dirty. Not just wet, it looked dirty. So she's going back over that same area to make sure it's truly clean. You don't get floors cleaner, you get them clean. And all you can do that is you continue to check your mop head. She put it back. Continue mopping where she left off. Now we're in this area that you can probably tell in between the island and the sink. That's where a lot of food preparation is going on. That's where a lot of food drop. Now we're also in front of the trash cans. A lot of stuff will fall there as well too. That's another hot spot. Sink, trash can, refrigerator. Makes sense to me, huh? She needed one more to get that kitchen done. Getting all that done. She can actually get a couple out here, it looks like. Look at her mops leaning against her head like that. That's to keep her from sliding down. That's a good move instead of laying on the floor. May look unorthodox, but again, it's one of those moves that just makes sense to keep you moving and grooving. You don't have to lay it down. You don't have to stand it up against the wall because it's going to be, that swivel head will get away from you if you try to lean it against the wall. It won't. It'll fall and slam down to the floor. See how she picked up a penny? Look at that. And left it there. Now she's gonna put this mat back on. In some cases, it's okay because the floor just is damp. Because we asked her to go ahead and do all stages of the floor. Typically, what you would do is you wouldn't do that till all the floors are mopped and after the inspection is done, and then you lay the mop down on a perfectly dry floor. But even in this case, it being a little bit damp mop, that's still okay. Not ideal, but it's okay. That bucket is still on that dry towel, a rag, just to make sure we're not going to leave a ring on the floor, which is rare, but it's just professional courtesy not to do that. So again, safety first. Checking her rag, and that's when I looked dirty, didn't it? So she's going to get one more and do it again until it's truly clean. So I didn't count them. How many mop heads did she use in that kitchen? 10? 12? Hot? Yeah. Now she's putting everything back. Now the floors are done. And she's lifting up the chair. She's not sliding it. No, no, no. Even if it's have a coaster underneath, you're going to pick it up and you're going to move it. You're not going to slide it. And she's getting close back to where she started. So she should be wrapping up as soon as she gets done in the pantry. And again, she's moving stuff around the pantry floors. Again, that's another area that you can find spending a little bit more time getting those floors done completely. She's getting, it looks like the customer's Swiffer floor out of the way to get to all the areas. Moving, oh, they got a little step ladder, look at that. They sure do, which is not uncommon in the pantry. A large pantry like that for sure. Turn the light off, close the door. She'll come back and she'll end up closing that door at the very end when she does her inspection, but she's going to leave it out maybe to breathe a little bit, to dry. But she also moved that door so she can get to all the floors. And so she's now mopping her way out to cover her tracks where she was before. So she's done. Oh, no, she's not. She's going to do it around the other side where she was. That's right. She's going to do all that air that she was cleaning the kitchen, which you would, again, when you're doing the floors, you're doing all, but she's definitely doing the rest of these areas here. That's why you leave those chairs out. And this is another area, you know, if you're eating in this area, depending on the traffic, that could be another area where food will fall to the ground and you have to really make sure you get it all the way off. And another mop head. Floors are the #1 complaint in a home. Floors, floors, floors. It's the kitchen floors, then the bathroom floors, then back to the kitchen, and then the master bathroom. So it's the kitchen, master bathroom. Why? It's the heart of the house. Why floors? It's just everybody, it seems like that's the most common hot button is, make sure you get my floors done right. And the kitchen's going to have that foot traffic. They're going to have most of that foot traffic, more so than any place in the whole house. Not everybody goes to the master bathroom, but everyone goes to the kitchen. Friends, neighbors, family. And look, she's picking up the chair and not sliding it and putting it back. She's picking up the chair, not sliding it, putting it back. Picking up the chair. I know you got it. but I just have to comment on it every time. It's easy to slide that. It'd probably be okay if you slid it, but in that one case, you on a customer, you slide back, and she's checking out. Does it look light? Does it look perfect? Is it lined up? Is it pretty? You bet it is. You can slide something, and it can scratch the floor because the coaster fell off last night, or whatever. So look at that. Fantastic. Now that is a clean kitchen. Everything moved away, everything clean and shiny and pretty. Everything touched. Floors looking dynamite. Look, they're already dry. If you use a good floor cleaner, the floors dry pretty quick. Look at that. Big kitchen, an hour and a half. Yeah, it took all that time. Where a smaller house is going to take about half the time, about 45 minutes. So that is how you clean a kitchen. Thanks for you taking the time to allow us to show you how to clean a kitchen. And thanks for visiting Maid Training Academy. We encourage you to enroll if you have not enrolled yet in a class. It's simple and easy. If you are a graduate and you're watching this after you've completed your certification classes, I trust that you're happy to see some of the things that you learned applied in this cleaning. Again, what you learn is so much more than what we saw here, but certainly includes everything that you saw here. Thanks again for attending this training video on kitchens.